Ladies and gentlemen, this is the 6:30 Prime News on My Major Prime. Thanks for joining us. Today we're live from Douala. My name is Genda Peldrine Blanche King. The alleged embezzlement and mismanagement of COVID-19 funds put at the disposal of the government by the International Monetary Fund and the multiple crises in the country coupled with poor living conditions has pushed some 20 Cameroonian women leaders to question the International Monetary Fund and United Nations Security Council on what they call untamed scandal. They were speaking during a press conference which took place today here in Douala. Let's now have an excerpt from one of the main organizers of the press conference which took place earlier today in Douala. Edith Kawala talks to us.
The COVID Gate report has enabled us to get information. There is one thing which is clear from the audit report: money has been stolen. The judicial process, which is to establish who stole it, when, and how. But money has been stolen from the Cameroonian people. The Cameroonian people, people have died. Cameroonians died because there was no oxygen, because there was no personal protective equipment, because tests were not available. Cameroonians died. And therefore, the International Monetary Fund, from which this money was taken as a loan, which has to be repaid, cannot give a new loan to Cameroon when we have not established who stole that money, why procedures were not respected, financial management procedures were not respected, and how they will be respected in the future, so that loans taken in the name of Cameroonians are actually used for the well-being of Cameroonians.
French ambassador to Cameroon, Christophe Guilou, was a guest today at the Unity Palace. He and President Paul Biya discussed on fostering strategic partnership between France and Cameroon. This comes a few days after France joined forces with the government of Cameroon to boost security and the fight against terrorism. The aid which arrived the country included security materials, guns, bullets, drones, and others. The help is part of security cooperation between France and Cameroon, especially at a time when Cameroon is facing frequent terrorism attacks in its far north region. Away from that, the Northwest Association of Development Organization, NWADO, led by its coordinator, Tombi Stanley, has drilled some 40 heads of non-government organizations in the region on amplifying their voices for quality service delivery in the public sector. This was during a workshop which took place in Bamenda yesterday, as Lasha Kinsley tells us in the report that follows.
Farmers' graziers' problem, the deplorable nature of roads, the non-execution of some major contracts, and the lack of quality service delivery in the public sector in the northwest region of Cameroon has come under scrutiny of some NGOs in the region. The Northwest Association of Development Organizations, led by its coordinator, has drilled some 40 heads of NGOs in the region on amplifying their voices for quality service delivery in the public sector.
To contribute our own share in monitoring public policies and procedures, especially taking cognizance of two particular sectors, the land tenure and the public contract sectors. These are critical sectors for us here in the Northwest. So there's a lot of wrongdoing around public issues, and we thought that as CSOs we need to put ourselves together and have this orientation so that we are able to make our voices heard and advocate for better policies and procedures, so that at the end of the day the local people, the local communities who are the end users of these products and services, they should be satisfied.
During the forum, participants exchanged on the concept of good governance and accountability, the adoption of its rule, functioning, and roadmap. Here is the take-home message of some participants.
I think my take-home message from this workshop organized by Noel is that educate more of our community members on some of the laws that are existing concerning land tenure, especially in women's group like us who are working basically on the land. We have more to do with the land than any other sector. So we educate the women more on how to use the land, which will not lead to conflict with the grazers and also with the community, with the family members.
And I feel that the COSO had one thing articulated is within the framework of advocacy on the public route at the Gate Junction as a landmark piece in the whole country. And I feel that I was doing that from a lonely perspective. Now that we are coming as a board, I feel that it's a very good initiative.
My take-home message is that I have seen how we can better manage governance, quality control, quality management, and to advocate for those things that are not right in our society. And I'm thinking that is a privilege that if all of us, the organizations represented here today, can be going home with one common focus, our society will be a wonderful one.
Project aims at stimulating civil society dynamism, procedures, and the processes to ensure that citizens access quality service and public goods.
Members of the Southwest Regional Assembly are deliberating on the budget for the Southwest Regional Assembly. The 3-day budgetary session, which started yesterday, is expected to end on Friday. The proposed budget stands at about 2.75 billion francs CFA, and the amount was disclosed during the launch of the session. Clarissa Kowe reports.
The sum of 2,750 million francs CFA is the proposed budget for the Southwest Regional Assembly. Also peculiar about this pioneer budgetary session of the Southwest Regional Assembly was the examination of the standing orders of the Regional Assembly.
This is our first budget session since we came into office. We have two main items on the agenda to examine, vote and adopt the budget for 2021. And is to examine, vote and adopt the standing orders of the Regional Assembly first, of the standing orders of the House of Chiefs, and the standing orders of the House of the Regional Representatives.
In his speech, the President of the Southwest Regional Assembly, Zacchaeus Elangu, indicated that the priority areas for the budget will be for the proper running of the Southwest Regional Assembly. As part of the budget will be used for the purchase of office equipment, the organization of seminars for regional councillors, among others, that will enable them go down to the field to better identify the needs of the Southwest population.
That according to the law, the Regional Assembly is structured as follows. The House of the Regional Representatives examine issues to be discussed in the Regional Assembly. When we finish, within 24 hours, the law compels us to forward them to the House of Chiefs. The House of Chiefs now will examine if they have observations to make or there's any rejection, they will send it back to us. If they have observations or rejections with reasons why they are rejecting the work that we've done at the level of the House of the Regional Representatives. If the disagreement persists, as the law says, the House of the Regional Representatives now will vote the deliberation, whatever issue was on the table, and forward to the President of the Regional Executive Council for execution.
Taking place in the presence of the representative of the state, Governor Bernard Ukalabilai, he admonished the regional councillors to ensure that the needs of the Southwest affected population are met, while condemning any seed of disaccord existing between members of the Southwest Regional Council.
Northwest Regional Assembly has adopted the sum of 3 billion francs CFA to handle socio-economic projects that will better the standards of living for the people in the Northwest region. The money will cover areas considered by the Regional Assembly as a top priority. This is the outcome of a session which took place yesterday. Nora Kakebi completes this story in the following report.
A budget of over 3 billion CFA francs has been adopted by the Northwest Regional Assembly which took place in Bamenda, chief town of the Northwest region, on Wednesday, June 2nd, 2021. The sum is meant to take care of projects in both the social and economic sectors of the regions for the year 2021. The session deliberated for hours over the budget as members were given the opportunity to air their views. As a matter of fact, the 3 billion CFA francs is meant to cover domains considered priorities to the Regional Assembly, and they include promoting agro-pastoral activities, road maintenance projects, youth employment, as well as boosting economic activities in the Northwest region of the country. According to some members, more time should be given to the House to effectively study the budget lines. It should be noted that before the budgetary session, both the House of Chiefs and the divisional representatives met in a plenary session in which priorities were highlighted. On his part, Professor Fruangwa for III, President of the Regional Assembly, announced several partnership agreements brokered in and out of the country with the aim of achieving maximum success. The Regional Assembly is therefore expected to build reforms and make life better.
According to reports, the 4th Deputy Mayor of Jombe Penja Municipality in the Mungo Division, 20 Medar, has been arrested and taken to the state prosecutor in Banga for allegedly raping an 8-year-old. Sources say the accused has been arrested for similar allegations before now. Audrey Zatsa in the following report.
He was arrested and taken to the state prosecutor in Mungo Division Wednesday after he allegedly raped an 8-year-old last April 18, 2021. He reportedly molested the victim when she came up to purchase some food items in his provision store. Sources say the physically challenged 4th Deputy Mayor of Njombe Penja took advantage of the innocence of the child, began touching her, and would later have his way through. The victim was rushed to a medical facility in the municipality where it was confirmed that she had been raped. The father to the victim, who happens to be the personal photographer of the accused, filed a complaint at the state prosecutor's office in Banga against the 50-year-old mayor who had taken to his heels after committing the heinous crime. Twente Medad finally fell into the police dragnet yesterday, June 2, 2021. However, it is not the lone incident that has shaken up the area. Other incidents, like the recent one of the gendarmerie officer who allegedly raped a 13-year-old child in the Central region some days ago, exposed the grim reality of rape cases against women in the country. While waiting on justice to be done, Cameroonians are urging parents to closely keep an eye on their kids.
You're watching the 6:30 Prime News on My Major Prime. The 6th Deputy Mayor of Douala 5, Joseph Espoabion, has backed out of the Africa Award 2020, where he was nominated. He explained his reasons yesterday during a press conference heavily attended by members of the press. Gladys Bomotongina was part and compiled the following in the French language.
Suite à son retrait des Africa Awards 2020 il y a quelque temps de cela, demandant à tous ceux qui voulaient le voter de s'abstenir de le faire et à l'organisation de retirer son nom parmi les nominés sur sa page Facebook, le 6e adjoint au maire de la commune de Douala 5e, Joseph Espoabion, a donc tenu une conférence de presse le mercredi 2 juin 2021 dans ses services, dévoilant finalement les raisons de cette décision.
Il y a récemment, j'ai été nominé aux African Awards 2020. Et contrairement aux organisations, j'ai accepté d'adhérer et de me soumettre aux jeux. J'ai donc eu la maladresse de voter avec mon numéro plus de 150 fois. Subitement, j'avais un score largement au-dessus des autres. Et c'est après, au grand matin, que le promoteur Arsène Bouna m'appelle. Il me dit, wow, je vois que tu es en avance. J'ai dit merci. Il me dit, mais il faut demander à ton équipe de ne pas voter plusieurs fois. J'ai pris la peine de demander les listings de MTN, parce que avec le droit MTN, que j'avais voté ici. Et j'étais un peu trop gêné depuis ce jour de gagner un événement alors que j'avais triché.
Par ailleurs, il a tenu à préciser que son intention n'était guère de ternir l'image de cette organisation.
Franchement, je ne veux pas incriminer les organisateurs, je ne vous dirai pas plus que ce que j'avais à dire. C'était moi le problème et je pense que je ne mérite pas de gagner.
Néanmoins, se posant beaucoup de questions au sujet de la montée rapide des votes de certains candidats et du système devant être amélioré, il espère que le gagnant le sera honnêtement.
La somme de tout ça, dans ma tête, ça continuait chaque fois à me donner envie de désister. Je ne pouvais plus supporter, je ne pouvais pas, j'ai beau résister, j'ai beau faire tout, je ne peux pas dire cela. Il fallait que je me libère, il fallait que je libère les Camerounais, il fallait que je donne la voix à un nouveau Cameroun d'exister, parce qu'il n'y a pas de tricherie, il n'y a pas d'invective, il n'y a pas de mensonge. Je prie que celui qui gagnera, qu'il le gagne sans avoir triché.
C'est donc là une première dans l'histoire des votes au Cameroun où un candidat se retire car il aurait fraudé.
Few days before the meeting of the East Regional Council, concerned individuals are looking into the effectiveness of decentralization and its induced effects in the East region of the country, where multiple partnerships with structures that contribute to entrepreneurial training has been explored. Jean Didier in the following report.
À quelques jours de la tenue du premier conseil du tout nouveau conseil régional de l'Est, nous nous intéressons sur les réalités de la décentralisation dans la région de l'Est. La ville de Bertois, capitale régionale, affiche déjà fière allure. Cette métamorphose est due notamment grâce à la mairie de ville, dernier né de la décentralisation, qui, avec les contrats des endettements de développement CDD, a pu mettre en œuvre de grands projets. Il a par ailleurs développé des partenariats avec des structures qui œuvrent au quotidien dans la décentralisation. C'est le cas du développement Cameroun, qui, en accord avec la mairie de ville et les autres collectivités territoriales décentralisées, a entrepris des formations dans les domaines agricoles, élevage et entrepreneuriat. Cette collaboration a permis de capaciter plus de 500 jeunes et financer 107 projets.
Avec la mairie de Bertois 1er, nous sommes en pourparlers avec plusieurs déjà initiatives qui sont mises sur la table, sans oublier également la communauté urbaine. Sans contourner, nous allons également citer ici la collectivité territoriale décentralisée, la mairie de Goura, avec qui nous avons mis en place le projet Manioc 50 sur 50 hectares qui est le départ.
Si par endroits, on observe déjà les retombées de la décentralisation, d'autres secteurs attendent toujours le financement et espèrent des retombées favorables de cette première session ordinaire.
Si vraiment la décentralisation vient avec le système de créer des projets, nous sommes partants pour créer des projets pour qu'ils puissent nous financer. Parce qu'en nous finançant dans nos projets, nous allons aussi émerger et aider aussi beaucoup d'autres jeunes, les encourager dans ce même domaine.
Notons qu'avec la décentralisation effective, les jeunes et habitants de la région de l'Est pourront, au vu de ces richesses et opportunités que regorge la région, se prendre véritablement en main et voir le soleil vraiment s'élever dans la région de l'Est.
Prime News ends here. Thanks for watching. See you tomorrow at 6:30. God willing, for another edition of Prime News on my Major Prime. Ewane Nolinga produced the news, coordinated by Lasha Kinsley. My name is Blanche Peldrine. Stay tuned to my Major Prime at 7 p.m. Kumlona will be live with Prime. Enjoy today's edition of the program. Happy viewing. Good night.